After last weekend, I spent more time in a mall than I have spent in my entire lifetime. Most of it was spent in the bones of an old H&M for CritCon, and we're going to talk about it on the Vox Cascadia podcast. The two of the many people that spent a lot of time with me this weekend join me right now. So, hey Tyler, how you doing after CritCon?
I feel incredible. It feels kind of surreal. What happened this weekend? Biggest weekend for Kill Team ever, I'd probably say. And CritCon was part of that. Killscream 3. We got the new edition launching. We got the new announcement. Top of the world, honestly.
Yeah, it was pretty much non-stop, wall-to-wall Kill Team goodness. Again, the biggest, well, the last major tournament of Kill Team Second Edition, the debut of Kill Team Third Edition in the middle of that, and also they're already telling us about the second box. And Connor, you were there. There's some dark ad mech coming out, and you also played in Killscream 3. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing really good, Chuck. CritCon was a fantastic time. Killscream 3 was an even better time. And best of all, we're getting Dark Mechanicum, not Mechanicus. So, always got to emphasize the cum, Chuck.
Yeah, I'm sure you do emphasize the cum. So
I was half expecting a soundboard pop up there after the comment. I'm shocked we haven't used it yet.
no, yeah, I'll if you're worthy of a soundboard shot, you'll get a soundboard shot.
All right, well, that's all my goal now for the rest of the episode then.
I will
Yeah,
definitely
he
not
hasn't
give you one then.
he hasn't had time to really prep the soundboard because we were doing other stuff. So just wait till next week's episode. It'll be fully loaded.
Yeah, I got to go through and I got to go through the I don't know, something like 40 hours of Kill Team or of Vox Cascadia now and find all the dumb Connor moments I can to put on there. So,
That's that's
anyway,
okay. There's a lot of those moments, and you know what? Fans like them, and that's all that matters.
do
Yeah, leave
they?
your favorite in the comments.
Yeah, what's your favorite dumb Connor moment? If you can narrow it down to just one. I mean, oh, I know Baby Got Back. Come on, it's got to be on my top five at least.
Top five for sure. Or any of our dumb moments. Any if there's any moments that stand out to y'all, send them in. We'll cut them up and use them as sound clips.
Yeah, just tell me the episode and then vaguely about in the episode where it is, and we'll play them all back. I mean, we just do like a best of for like episode 50, which is coming up soon. So
That's impressive. Feels wild. Also,
yeah,
it's gone by so fast.
this is 37, and so 50 is like only like 22 away if my math is correct, which I don't think it is. So, anyways, back to CritCon. Yeah, so we finished up a 3-day convention here in Portland, Oregon. We had a 42 player kill team tournament. We 48 people signed up, but we had a few people that couldn't make it. Also had a 32 player Age of Sigmar tournament. We had probably 10 people playing Infinity. There was 2 days of Inquisitor 52 millimeter,
Yeah,
as well as some games of Pathfinders too. There's a the Pathfinder guys recorded a live podcast there too, which Connor or Tyler jumped in the middle of. We also had Shayla take the Killscream 2 sword and stab it through the Kill Team Edition 2 books. So a lot of weird shit.
yeah. We War Master, some local guys came out and set up for War Master, which is really cool. They're gonna come back next year and do a full on War Master tournament. And then we had some really cool vendors come through and show their stuff. We even picked up an extra vendor partway through the second day, so that was really neat. Also, um, there's so many people to meet. There happened to be a art fair going on the same day on Saturday at the same location in the mall of Lloyd Center. So that was really cool to kind of cross pollinate our event. And then there was also a pinball tournament going on. So lots of foot traffic, lots of people walking around enjoying a mall like I haven't seen since the 90s, you know?
Yeah, Lloyd Center really is the center of it all, is what they at least said in the commercials. But Tyler, you and I we've been in and out of Lloyd Center, I don't know, probably 10 times in preparation for this tournament, scouting locations and stuff, but there was nowhere near the amount of foot traffic that, like, the multiple times we were there as when we were there for CritCon.
Yeah, it was really incredible. I'd say we probably had about 1,000 people come in and out of the doors, not including attendees and stuff like that. Two of our vendors sold out the second day. So Tyler and Bloodsport Gambler, Dylan, both sold out. So uh, Tyler was making Most Muscular Minis, which is like a Morkborg adventure there, or Forbidden Psalm, I believe. And then Bloodsport Gambler's a Mirage Merchant, cool little independent game. And I know Taglio Dice um, and Rubird, who were there making bags. Um, it was really good for them also, so that was awesome. Mind Taker Minis came out and had all their stuff and their sprues, and like you can dig through, find bits, which was amazing. I saw people digging through all day, every day.
Yeah, it was pretty busy the entire time, actually. So well, let's just go through and recap kind of the entire weekend. So Tyler and I showed up on Thursday to set up for the event. My buddy Brian came out, as well as Jeremy Cosner from the community, and Cody showed up partway through as well
Yep.
too. Connor, you got there sometime, right?
Yeah, I showed up with Jeremy. He picked me up from the bus port, and we came over there. And walking through the mall that early in the day with no one else in it was a very Twilight Zone feeling.
Yeah, that's about what Lloyd Center's like most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Setting up was it's like one of those moments. I talked about this to people who were at the event. So if you've heard this multiple times or anything like that, I already heard this from me. But like, you can plan for an event. You can put all this stuff where it's supposed to be, but until you're there and like it's starting to take shape, it doesn't feel real. And Thursday, like as we're setting up the tables, we have the keys to the place. It really like took shape, and it really was like really neat to see. Setting up all those boards, we had like really nice space for everyone to be able to spread out and like enjoy themselves while they're playing Kill Team, not crammed in like little sardines or anything like that. Like you often have to be when you have more limited spaces, even hotels and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, we had 8-foot tables for these games, and because of the amount of people we had, we were able to give every game had its own 8-foot table. So like when we played, the three of us all played at Tacoma, it was a 6-foot table, and you had 2 games for 6-foot tables. Now we had 8-foot tables, and we had one game for 8-foot tables. So it was nice. Everybody was spread out, which was really nice. We spent quite a while setting up tables. Connor went through and set up into the dark boards. I put objective markers down on open boards, and then Tyler went and set up the actual open boards themselves. So if you don't like the layout you got, that you can blame Tyler.
Yeah, Greg went through and edited all the open ones too. So, there's multiple eyes on that at least. Can't take all the blame.
Yeah, and we used for the Into the Dark boards, we used the asymmetrical squad games stuff as well too. So we had some really nice boards that we tried to keep to the top tables. So my buddy Nick, his Octaria set, which is amazingly painted, and then Jeremy Spake, his Into the Dark set, which has a custom Into the Dark game board too. So not just a piece of cardboard, but like a resin cast Into the Dark floor, which was super cool. I want to make one of those myself. I know, Connor, we looked at that
Yeah,
video about like making our own Kill Team boards.
Yeah, that
I
video
I'm
is. Oh, sorry. That video is super cool. I definitely want to do that, and ideally have that if we do live stream next year's. We'll have it on a board like that because that'd be sick.
yeah, I definitely need to make a board like that for Into the Dark. Ideally, I would like to have just one Into the Dark set for each of the good boards in the new edition. Just fixed. Pull it out, bam! It's already together.
Well, we got enough. We got enough Into the Dark boards now. I mean, I think we still need more, but we probably could set a couple of those, right?
Yeah, just build them, set them, then just transport them flat like that. maybe hang them on the wall.
I think that'd be pretty cool. I saw gosh, what was his name? Marco Frazzone, I think it was, did a video where he did a terrain board that you could mount to the wall. It was pretty cool. So it'd be good for Into the Dark. So after we all set up, we hauled a million tables and a million chairs all over the place, and it was conventions are quite the workout. I was kind of surprised between going up and downstairs all day long. I closed all my rings every day on my Apple Watch.
Oh man, my legs were burning by the end of the convention. Tell you what, I needed most of Monday after we finished cleanup just to sit on my couch and let my legs rest.
Yeah, I was pretty beat after every day. So after we finished up getting set up, I think it was, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5. I had dinner at McMiniman's down the street with Jeremy, Connor, and Cody, and then came home and pretty much passed out on the couch and waited for Nick to come down. And Nick came down, and then Friday morning headed back down to the convention first thing because we had to let vendors in. Tyler met me there early. Connor just kind of showed up when Connor shows up because we found out that Connor's a diva, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit.
Absolutely, he was apparently holding up the whole show for a bunch of people arriving on time. So
Yeah, maybe we can get into that right now. Although Connor, I don't think he's here to defend himself, so we'll have to
yeah,
we'll
yeah,
have to wait till he
we'll
gets
circle
back.
back to this here in a minute. Yeah, but
So
it was a little nerve wracking, that first day, gates going up and stuff like that, getting people to where they're going and everything like that. And but energy was high. Friday morning, kill team, didn't start until later in the day though. So we had people start to, I want to say, really come in about 11 ish. A couple of people were setting up to play free play games early on in the day. Um, just hanging out, getting to know each other, and checking out all the tables. And then we had a really great first day of play. Um, y'all handled most of that. I was mostly upstairs, kind of interacting with vendors and making sure AOS, when they showed up, they got situated and everything they needed to get going.
yeah, it was kind of wild to me. We just randomly had somebody show up with a board game that I've never heard of and I do not remember the name of, and they were like, "I heard you got free play." And so since we had a big space and we weren't taking up all of it, we every day we had tables set aside for keep people to come just play free play. Day one on Friday, like I said, we had some weird World War II hex board game that I don't even remember what it was. Uh, we had we had War Master on day two. Day three, we had some
Yeah.
guys play 40K.
hmm Yeah, that was really cool. Eddie, he's a guy I know through Instagram, an artist. He came out and he dropped off some prints because I was hawking shirts because I had printed some extras for for exactly this situation to sell at our convention. And so he dropped off some prints. Keaton also had dropped off some amazing prints, which I'm going to be putting up online for sale. So if you didn't get one at CritCon, you can purchase one from me. And so it was really cool to not only be able to sell my shirts in person and like have people check them out before they buy them, because normally when I sell it, it's all, trust me, I promise this is a nice shirt, it's going to look cool, and like to see people's reactions and stuff like that, and then people's reactions to the art. It was yeah, it was just amazing to collaborate and do all of that stuff with people.
Yeah, I know you were blown away by seeing people at LVO in your shirts. So I'm sure it was nice to hand off shirts and see people purchase them in person too.
Yeah, it really was. And then like people would show up the next day in the shirt to CritCon. I did a trade for a shirt with Dylan from Bloodsport Gambler, and it was amazing. Just like all around like great vibes. It was very cool. Just like very great response to my shirts. I learned that I need to make way more mediums and larges when I'm vending in person because those go extremely fast.
Yeah, we also had actually the people that make your shirts were there doing print on demand CritCon stuff too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Rodney came up with OJ on Friday morning. They got set up pretty early with their big printing octopus. We had 4 options for designs um, on there, and so yeah, they were doing live printing. And I think they did really good with their shirts too. So that was cool. Just having the opportunity to like have something made for you on the spot on a really nice quality T-shirt and stuff was amazing too, and like really special for all the people that got one because you won't ever be able to get those shirts again like that. You know.
Yeah, I know. I bought 3 of them. Connor, you bought one of them at least too, right? You bought the bubble version of it?
Yeah, I got the bubble text, and then I grabbed some for my friend Matt up here. He wanted the CritCon logo white on black T-shirt. But yeah, the shirts came out really nice, and it was super freaking cool to see them get printed in front of you, which was that's a neat experience you don't see very often, like in person. So it was extra fun.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. I think they've already committed to coming back next year, so I can't wait. Like I got 2 of the shirts myself. I got the bubble print and then one of the green ones with the red and uh, white print on it. So super excited about that.
I myself got 2 of the, let's see, I got a black with the CritCon logo and a black in red and one in white. And then I also got the Cascadia Regional Tabletop one as well in green. Actually, I like the green. I don't. My shirts are almost always black, so it was nice to have a little variation there.
Absolutely. I keep a pretty tight like color range that I wear personally, but I'll make an exception for a few green shirts now and then.
There's no such thing as too many black T-shirts. It doesn't matter what's on the black T-shirt. Just black T-shirt with a nice design is always peak fashion.
So in the midst of day one, we, besides having a bunch of vendors and a bunch of just random people coming by, we did have some kill team games. And Connor, you played on day one. You had 2 games. What were your who were your opponents, and what were the outcome of those?
So yeah, played Friday afternoon is when we started. It was a very exciting time. My first game was against DM Duffy with his beautiful, beautiful Inquisition. He did a fantastic job with those guys, and he had a display board that I got to see on Saturday, and that was a super fun time. It's a great board. He did I think he got second with it. I'm sorry if I'm misremembering that, but yeah, he had a great board. It was a solid game. Going into it, was a little bit confident, mostly because he said he doesn't play Kill Team all that much in the last couple of weeks. And me, I like Kill Team a lot. That's why I'm on a podcast about it. But it was a really great game, just lots of trading pieces back and forth. But thankfully, I was able to get like an early point advantage and just kind of go even from then on out, and just managed to snag it by that.
And then game 2, who was your second game?
Game 2 was none other than good old Zach with his novitiates, which was a real bummer because I knew I was probably gonna have to fight Zach or Bean or Chad or any of the other guys local to my area at some point because we all we play a decent amount. We all were hoping to try and chase that golden ticket, but I wasn't hoping to fight Zach round 2, which was a brutal loss just by like 2 points. It was a really even game, but unfortunately, I just never got initiative outside of the first turning point and on into the Dark and Novies. This is not what you're looking for, especially considering they can use that ploy to go on guard before you even move a guy. So it was a good game, but I just couldn't get my Sicarians forward enough to outscore him, which is what I was wanting to do.
Yeah. You said it was on Into the Dark. It's real rough for people going into novitiates because they can set up, especially if they position right, and they can be a hard nut to crack there, because they're guarding you before you're even coming into the room.
Yeah, and Flamers, still hitting on threes, even on guard with a reroll of ones, still pretty good. And then, of course, the plasma pistol, probably the best plasma pistol in second edition. But despite the loss, it was a fantastic game. Zach is always a great opponent, and me and him all have super close matches. And it was made even better because we got to play on the board Jeremy made, which we talked about earlier. But yeah, that board is amazing, and I was half tempted to try and steal it from Jeremy, but I'd feel pretty bad about stealing a board, and it would be very easy to tell who made the board.
Also, it's a heavy board, and I don't think you can make it out with it.
I might be able to like sneak it into a big bag, but that'd look even more suspicious.
Maybe. I don't know. So the format for CritCon, if y'all don't know, it was 2 games on day one, 3 games on day two, and then the top 8 played 2 games on day three on Sunday. And um, so that was the end of day one for Connor. And so going into day two, let's see, what was day two? I'm trying to remember. So
On
Saturday
Saturday.
was
Yep.
Saturday was like the main event of CritCon because we had 42 players kill team. Everybody was still
Mhm.
playing kill team. I think we had maybe one drop actually. DM Duffy dropped because
Yeah.
Sean Duffy dropped because he was taking a painting class because we had painting classes all weekend too.
Yeah, the Duffy. I gotta say, shout out to you. You made the most of the convention. You did Kill Team day one, painting classes day two, and then you did Inquisitor day three. Just really taking in the whole event, which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean that's if he got a shirt and bought something from a vendor, I think he like filled the CritCon bingo card. Actually, that's
He
write that down. CritCon bingo card for next year.
absolutely, and I know that he filled the bingo card because he bought Bloodsport Gambler like right away. I'm pretty sure. And then what was the other thing? Shit, my mind just went out.
Well, he did kill team, painting, Inquisitor, Bloodsport Gambler, and if he got a shirt, I think that's the bingo
Yeah.
card. Free space in the middle.
Oh yeah, I think he did. I know I gave him a shirt that he had been patiently waiting for because I forgot to ship it to him. So I will count it. Technical bingo.
There you go. Big winner Duffy.
Yeah. Congrats on completing the first inaugural bingo card. And speaking of shirts, Chuck, what do I got to do to get my crop top back?
It's not your crop top anymore. It's my crop top now.
Chuck, please give me back the crop top. That was for Sierra. And I'm a fool and somehow left it like a bozo. I got too many
Yeah.
new clothes.
Yeah, you did get quite. Got quite a few new clothes today or this past weekend, and I got bored waiting for Tyler, who was doing his real job on Monday, not the fake job that we didn't get paid for, and did a little
Mhm.
photo shoot, did a little dance video. Like I don't know, I had a whole empty H&M to myself. Like you can't leave a guy with a cell phone and a Bluetooth speaker in an H&M by himself.
Yeah, the videos are doing pretty well. I post them on Vox Cascadia. I think you saw it because I think you liked it. Did you understand the song choice by any chance?
Nope, not at all.
Okay, so for reference, for anyone that's around my age and not ancient Chuck years, the song was "Carmel Dancin'," which I don't really know much about other than that's yeah, Sierra's singing it now in the background. I don't really know what it is other than I see it used all the time in memes where people are like, post gaming convention stuff. They're standing all alone in an empty room, or not even standing. They're laying on the ground in an empty room, just decompressing to that song with like a rainbow filter flashing on and off to the beat of it. I don't know what it is, but I like the memes, so I figured I could turn Chuck into that.
Well, I've never seen any of those videos, so it doesn't make sense at all to me, and I feel like you're taking advantage of an elderly person by doing that.
You gave me an emoji after I asked if I had your permission to post the video, so
Again, elderly, I don't even know what buttons I'm pushing. I just
Yeah.
push buttons.
you edit this
Recent
podcast.
recent court case shows that emojis count as agreement in contractual law. So yeah, you're screwed, Chuck. Connor's got you.
All right, fair enough. Well, but I've still got his shirt, so who's the big winner now? And actually, I think I fucking rock the crop top.
You do. You look cute in it. You missed out by not ordering a crop top, is what I found out there. I still have
What'd
some
you
of the long sleeves if you want.
maybe? What'd you say? I need to get like Fat Boy tattooed on my belly or something too to go with it.
Doughboy, just like a big
Doughboy, that's what
old
it
English
is.
doughboy. Yeah, it looked good. So
I'm gonna need you. Can you Photoshop that on that picture?
I think we can. Yeah,
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. So, all right, where are we at again? Day two. So day two, we started off again with Guild Team games starting at 9:30 at
and
lunchtime.
AOS was at the door. They were giving their speech at like 8:45 outside the doors, and then we raised the gates and they came in and started rolling dice immediately, like at 9 a.m., which was cool. It was they were ready. They pulled off 3 rounds of AOS first all day. So
Yeah, day two was when it was really popping off because again, we had 42 players kill team, we had 32 players AOS, we had all of our vendors there, we had the first set of games of Inquisitors, we had our first painting classes with Useless Wizard and Dan Osborne that day too. So some grime classes. We had Infinity started going. The Pathfinder guys were playing games. Pathfinder guys were going off too. I don't know if you were. I know Connor, you were
Yeah.
downstairs, but you hear them like they were hooting and hollering. It was pretty good.
Absolutely. So my buddies Matt and Dylan stopped by just to support. You know, they couldn't play. Both of them have obligations and families and stuff like that. Couldn't commit to 3 days of kill team, which I understand, kind of, not really. But they came through and they got dragged into the Pathfinder game and they had a blast. They were the ones hooting and hollering. But like it seemed like the guys running it just had a great mastery of getting people to enjoy the game. Really, really cool to see.
Yeah, and then at lunchtime we had our hobby contest, the painting contests, where we had um, gaming boards. We had kill teams up to be judged. Ryan, Useless Wizard, came down to help us do some judging, and the ultimate winner was once again my buddy Nick. And just so y'all know, whenever Nick enters in anything, I have nothing to do with the judging. I always abstain from any input or anything and let other people do it because I don't want to be biased because I always think his stuff's the best and most of the time it is. But he had an amazing board. Uh, Duffy, we talked about his board earlier. His board was amazing as well too. But I think just a little bit of the details is what won Nick a giant box of army painter paints for it.
Yeah, and then we had Slowhand Mike, I think, also.
Yeah, Mike
Came in,
Mello.
came in third on there for the painting. His was really, really good. The feedback, the critiques, and the way that Useless Wizard's mind works when he's like looking at painting. You can tell he's on a whole nother level with it. You know, I'm sure Dan's much the same way, which is why they're both professionals. You know, um, I looked at the stuff and I was like, oh man, these are all amazing. And he comes and he's like, and he could provide like real feedback for all of them on places to improve, which is wild. Not that any of them needed improvement. They were just, you know, the level of skill and knowledge there is just really, really cool.
Yeah, and then after lunch we had two more games of Kill Team that day. Connor, let's talk about your games a little bit. Who's your before lunch game?
Before lunch game was against Chad, which was funny. Me, Chad, and Zach all ended up playing each other within the first 3 rounds. So again, quite the bummer to be in the position to knock each other out. But always great games. I managed to snag a victory against Chad. We were playing Hunter Clade versus Corsairs, and we always have a good game of I know Corsairs on Into the Dark can reach your board, and with the Shredder that can be terrifying, especially on the map we were playing. There was just a section where I needed to deploy, and he was going to be able to get a good line of sight. Thankfully, I took the gambit when infiltrate, which guaranteed me initiative to kind of make him take a worse shot. That worst shot worked out in my favor. One Rust Darker completely fine. One died, but whatever, that was fine. And then round 2, he got a opening initiative with a plasma grenade and fired it at 3 people and only did 3 damage, even with lethal 5s and outcasts turned on. So that was just kind of the name of the game. A lot of his dice were okay, and then I would just make all my saves, which was really, fun for me. Brutal for him, but it just gave me the advantage to take out enough of his guys to snore a victory. Then the second match, the first one after lunch, was against Kit with her Blooded, and that was a really fun time. Kit's a really solid player, and she likes to go for the super risky plays, and she definitely does, as she described herself that way, and it was very true. Her Ogren, though, just managed to tear through my Rust Doggers faster than anything I'd ever seen, which was a real bummer, as it got her the victory over me, which meant I was now 2-2, which most likely, other than some really weird edge case scenarios, meant I was out of contention for the GT. But then when that was a good use. I was pretty bummed, but is what it is. And then round 3 for that day, I went into Naturi, another local to the Pacific or to Puget Sound area. And again, always a fantastic opponent. Managed to take a victory over his Jaegers, leaving me at 3-2 over the weekend. So still a positive score, still a good time overall.
Yeah. So, how would you compare Kit's play versus Brandon's play with Blooded? I've heard it's quite different.
It absolutely is. Kit will take a 10% chance because it'll be really cool when that 10% chance works out. Brandon's going to need, like, most of the time, a 50 to 70% chance to take those odds. And that's what makes Kit such an explosive player. Because if you get, two of those 10%, 20% chances back to back, that is insanely, like, it can be game swing. It's just 90% of players won't take those odds, but she does, which makes her such a fun opponent.
Yeah, Kit's always fun. One of my favorite people to play locally. Get a lot of games in with her, so she killed it this weekend. A lot of people were just killing it all over. Just honestly, it was cool to see like the play level where it's evolved from 3 years ago when we started to now. I think like TOing was like pretty simple for Greg. I think most people had like the game down, and it was like just small little stuff at this point.
Yeah, and Cody and I, the assistant TOs or the line judges, as we call it, basically like we basically all we look and see is if somebody has a shot, and if it's anything more than that, we are really good at flagging Greg down and getting him to come over. So if we can, if it's anything more than that, like laser focused on where Greg is to get him to come over and help out. So, but thank you, Greg, for coming all the way from Maryland to help us out with this event, and we miss you, buddy. I'm glad to spend some time with you this weekend again. So let's see. That was end of day 2. So end of day 2, I ended up going to Level Beer, who was helped us out immensely with objective markers, actually, because found out when I was at the coast one day playing at a brewery that the objective markers are the same exact size as the standard beer coasters. So they were super nice. Popped over to Level Beer with Nick and my buddy Sam from the coast, and had some smash burgers and some beverages, and then that was pretty much the end of day 2 for me. Again, came back, passed out on the couch. So
Yeah, my day 2, I was too exhausted. I just drove straight home after the event. Couldn't, no way I was going out to eat or drink or anything like that.
So day 3. So day 3, after that, we had our top 8 cut, and our top 8 was Jimmy Kelly, Joshua the Kid Kelly, Brandon Bean, Zach, Emily, Thomas Taverner, David Atkins, and Liam George. So we had actually Josh Stroll, winner of Blunt Force Beatdown, and what was the other one he won? The one at Shiv, I can't remember what it was, but 2-time winner, 2 belts under his belt. He was actually top 8 and decided to drop because all he wanted was a high storm box, and knew at that point he didn't have a chance at it. So
Yeah, he wanted to finish his belt collection and get that Hive Storm box, and he was just out of the running with people like Jimmy Kelly taking the wins.
yeah, and so round 6, the penultimate round, we had Jimmy Kelly and Brandon Bean in probably the most precise, sweaty, and fun game you'll ever have of Kill Team. The two of them were just, I mean, I'd love to have. We're actually next week we're gonna have Jimmy Kelly on, so we can have Jimmy speak to the game. But it was just like the two of those two dudes were laser focused on that game.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's why they're both going to World. You can see it when they play. There's a level of skill and precision that they developed playing this game, and really mastering it, and it shows.
Yeah, and we had Emily went into David Atkins and his Hunter Clade. Somebody took the Hunter Clade up to the top 8, but unfortunately unfortunately for the Hunter Clade, at least, Emily came through with her Nemesis Claw to take them down. Zach went up against Jesh and the Giller Pox Infected, and they were too much for the Novitiate. It's actually just a 1-point win by Jeshua to take out Zach, and then Thomas with his Wormblade took down Liam and the Brood Brothers. So that brought us to the final round, and we ended up having Jimmy versus Emily, Jesh versus Thomas, Brandon versus David and Hunter Clade, Zach and the Novitiates versus Liam and the Brood Brothers. And the ultimate winner was Jimmy Kelly. So Jimmy has a fantastic belt to add to his other trophy collection, and
Mhm.
it looked real good on him. It matched the green, and it brought out the purple in his the rest of his outfit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that he also claimed Brandon's sword. I don't know if Brandon's relinquished the sword yet, but I believe that's Jimmy's sword now, or at least he claims it is too.
Yeah,
So
it's like it's Jimmy's sword that actually. So Jimmy was nice enough actually to let Brandon hang on to the sword, but it's now
yeah,
Jimmy's
that's
sword.
that's what I heard. Also,
So our top three at the event was Jimmy Kelly, his son Jeshua, and then Brandon Bean ended up third, and then Emily ended up fourth. And since Jimmy, Jeshua, and Brandon already have golden tickets, Emily is the one who comes away with the Kill Scream golden ticket. So she's
yeah,
going to Atlanta.
absolutely. Talk to her. She's committed. So excited to send her out. I know she's gonna kill it.
Yeah, and it sounds like, and since this is going to be, it's going to be a third edition event, and it sounds
Yep,
like her team of choice, Nemesis Claw, is actually going to be pretty solid in that event.
absolutely. Really, really coming in strong.
So throughout the event, I took some notes too because there's other things I want to talk about besides what else went on. Actually, we'll recap Monday. So Monday, so actually post day 3 of the event, went and Connor skipped town right away. Got a ride out of town as soon as he could. But then myself, Tyler, Cody, and Greg all went to Level Beer and had some smash burgers. Greg got a burrito, had some beverages, and just I think Tyler and I were just kind of dead at that point. But it was nice to
Yeah.
sit down and have a meal with those boys.
Absolutely. It was like a great way to close it out. It was a lot of hard work put in over the last year to get to this point, and it once it was all done, it felt kind of surreal. It like I said earlier, it doesn't feel real until it is, until you see it all come together and like it goes from like an empty space to a convention. It was what we set out to do, and we achieved it. We knocked it out of the park, and I can't wait to host the next one next year.
Yeah, I know. As soon as we started the timer on round 1 on Friday morning, I was almost in tears because I was so relieved that it was going and excited about what we did, and it just got better throughout the weekend too. So great job, Tyler, on all your hard work for it. Like I said, you're the guy who says like, oh, I'm the guy who says like, well, maybe we should hold back. And your guy that says let's fucking do it.
Yeah, let's sign, fuck it, we ball.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. So then
Hey,
Monday.
thank you for all your hard work also before we move on. You were an equal part in planning all of this, and you helped me achieve this, and I would have never been able to do it without such a great co-conspirator on all of this, man. So thank you.
Well, we make a pretty solid team. So let's see where we can go from here. So
Definitely.
Also, yeah, you guys did a killer job. Vox Cascadia has been tagged in like a bajillion posts. I've been trying to get them all on the story, but everyone that I've seen has been super excited with the event. I saw people say like they were buying their first kill team thing because it looked so much fun. They wanted to try it after being at the event. A bunch of vendors tagged us saying they were blown away at the amount of support. Like multiple vendors sold out of all their stuff. People just posting in general photos of them at the event, either playing games or with like friends they made there or like friends they know from the area. So you guys killed it. Everyone seems to have had a fantastic time. And so just thank you from me and everyone else that went. It was a great time.
Yeah. Beyond being just like a great weekend for us, like putting on CritCon and Killscream 3 and all of that, it was a huge day for Kill Team. Like as we said, the new edition dropped over the weekend. We got the big announcement about all the new teams. But also in Portland, it was a huge day because there's two new stores opened up this weekend also. So we had Grimdark Future and then Dice Pool that are brand new stores to the area. servicing the tabletop community, which is amazing. And then obviously we had our huge event, so just absolutely a monumental day for tabletop gaming here in the Pacific Northwest and Kill Team and us on a personal level. Yeah, I will remember these dates for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it was awesome, and I can't wait to get started on it for next year. So already we've got a list of things that we want to do better. I'm gonna actually be sending out a survey to everybody who attended to get your feedback on what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want to see more of. I'm also going to send out a survey to people who weren't able to attend and see if there's anything we can do to make it more accessible for y'all too. So keep an eye out on that. It'll probably be out in the next like week or so too. Now, Monday was the end. We got a lot of stuff done Sunday afternoon for taking down tables and stuff, but it was the final day of the event and tearing down. So lots of hauling tables, and I got to spend about an hour in the space by myself. So lots of trying on some new clothes and trying out some dance moves and crying in the fetal position in the middle of an old abandoned H&M.
You
Yeah,
looked really good doing it.
absolutely. It was cool. It was weird. Taking all the stuff out and like finally closing that gate. And like realize like seeing the space change back to what it was before we were there. Um, just super neat. You know, I wish I could have been there more in the morning, but I had to get back to my normal job and pay the bills and all of that stuff.
Yeah, I actually said that getting back to my normal job to pay the bills was actually kind of relaxing because of all the actual chaos that we went through this past weekend. It was just like nonstop, and it was awesome. And actually, like
Yeah.
work was kind of boring today because I wasn't like running all over the place and talking up Kill Team to every single person I saw.
Absolutely. Like the event went literally as smooth as I think an event like this can go. I don't think there was a single real problem. It was just smooth front to start. And yeah, it was incredible, but like it was nonstop, between selling shirts and then trying to, pop in and help run the event when I could downstairs, making sure AOS and all the vendors had everything they needed, or Dan and Useless Wizard. So yeah, there's just like a lot of little stuff to have to follow up on.
Yeah, I did a lot of facilitating, a lot of running around, being like, "What do you need? What can I get for you? How can I help?" So it was
Yeah,
fun. I feel like I'm good at that, and I feel like it was nice to flex those muscles in a little more hectic event than I usually do. It's kind of what I do for work every day, but it was nice to do that in a different environment.
yeah, it was really cool. And just like getting the response from the community to as people would come through and talk to you about it. Like the various wargaming communities came out locally, AOS obviously, but even people who weren't playing. We had a lot of the guys from the 3D roleplay group come through, and all of them were very impressed. Which, no offense, guys, you're kind of the old grognards that are hardest to impress. So the kind words you said to me about the event and how impressive you guys were with, just the welcoming community and stuff like that. It really, really great. I can't wait to see you guys there running War Master and stuff like that next year. So,
So that's kind of the timeline of events. I've got some notes about like a couple topics I want to talk about. So like I said, you guys jump in and add your thoughts on these too. So like I said, the Kellys were there, Jimmy and Joshua from San Diego, some of the best kill team players on the planet. They were also at Tacoma Open too, and they said at Tacoma, they said that this community is one of the most welcoming communities they've ever been to, and just continue to echo those words here. Like said it to me again that like loves playing with us in the Northwest just because like we're so damn welcoming. So if you need an excuse to come to the Northwest and play some kill team, I'm sure we'll get Jimmy to say it again next week, but that's that's a pretty good endorsement for us.
Yeah, we got something special out here. The Northwest is really something great. Wargaming out here is we're a tight knit community, and we're all friends. Not that other areas aren't like that, but like yeah, it's something really great here. Y'all should experience it.
Now we also had we had some of the vendors from the mall come through too, and so kind of
Yeah.
a side effect of Kill Scream and CritCon being in the mall was traffic for the mall, traffic for other people. So I think his name was Joseph.
Yeah.
The vintage vendor came up and said hi and said that he was just crazy busy because of all the events that were going on.
Yeah, it was super cool. So same weekend there was a little like the Saturday there was a little art show market going on way down at the other end in one of the other spaces we looked at. I snuck away towards the end of the wet day and went and bought some indie comics and Safubi and stuff like that. Bought an art print for my girlfriend. There's also a pinball tournament going on in the mall, hosted by one of the gentlemen. Already talked with him on Instagram, and we're gonna coordinate something if we're back in that space next year, so that we're not running events on accident on the same day, but on purpose this time. Because it's a lot the same crowds.
Yeah, I think we if we can coordinate some stuff, maybe get some more spaces or get spaces closer together too, and just kind of like take over the Lloyd Center for a weekend would be awesome. So,
Yeah,
um,
I would love to see like the mall alive for a weekend in October every year. That would be incredible.
now we did our bounty board, which is for $5 you can buy a bounty, which lets you place a token on someone else. You can anybody except the person you're playing at that time. You place it on their miniature. Whoever ends up killing that miniature gets that token. And we between the bounties, we raised about $1,000 for charity for the Oregon Food Bank and gave away a ton of prizes too. So that was one of the most fun parts for me was at the end of day two after round five,
Hmm.
we gave away the bounties. I think it was Holly. Was it Holly that won or no Ryder? Was it Ryder?
Ryder, yeah, it was Ryder who won. Who collected like 31 bounties overall. I want
Yeah,
to say.
31 bounties. Yeah, that was first place, and that was I think the most bounties I've ever seen at any of our tournaments by far.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryder's always a contender for most bounties. She's always out there collecting them and coming in real hot with it. But this year, she just knocked it out of the park. I think she took home Leviathan with that. So that
Yeah, and
was
then
really, really cool.
and Joshua was second place on that one too,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and then I think it was Justin was third. So, but then after the bounty tokens, I got to play like raffle Santa. So we gave
Mhm.
away probably $2,000 worth of Warhammer stuff.
Yeah, it was flying too. Just pulling numbers, and some people had extremely good luck. Like if you were rolling that many sixes, I would check your dice, kind of thing with the raffle. We were rapid firing them out, and every time I'd mix it up, and sometimes some people walked away with what 3, 4 prizes it seemed like.
Yeah, I think part of that had to do with the fact that Zach dropped about $200 worth to the charity. So I think that was very helpful.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you, Zach. Thank you to everyone that contributed. We love helping out our local community directly. We try to pick charities that have impact on the community and people directly also. So
Connor, did you win anything in the raffle, bud?
I sadly did not. I think it was the first time we've had one of the raffles with a decent amount of like tickets pulled where I didn't get one, but it was still a good time. A bunch of people walked away with cool stuff. Holly was excited to get the old ninth edition box because she was excited just to get assault intercessors for Angels of Death. So I was talking to her. I'm like, yeah, those are some of the best assault intercessor kits. Just because even though they're monopose, the like motion in the models is probably some of the best Marines there are.
Yeah, those assault intercessors actually are. way better than the non-monopose ones because they're like really like pushing forward. I mean, they're all just bolt heavy bolt pistols and chain swords, but they look really good.
Yeah, and the bright
Yeah,
side.
they're
Go ahead,
they're
Tyler.
easy to throw regular arms on too. So you just don't you cut off the little pegs and then you throw on regular intercessor arms and you have some really cool running regular intercessors.
Yeah, back when like the bolt rifles had different profiles in like pre 10th edition, a lot of my assault bolt rifle guys are made out of that, and I like put extra bits to make them like really covered in like pouches and stuff to signify these are the guys that are gonna run forward and hold the objective and gonna be there for a while until the rest of the team gets there. And they're just getting models, and like I said, really easy to customize, which is nice.
Yeah, it's a super good call, Tyler. I never thought about that. They're just pegs on the arms. They're not like anything built in, and so yeah, I think I've got some of those from the Imperium magazine that I can just snip off those pegs and make some more dynamic ones for them too. Since I have, I think I got about 15 to 20 of those painted already, but they're all just the same poses.
Yeah, and bright side, if you want to try the idea Tyler talked about, they are very easy to find on eBay because everyone in the world has a million of them new on sprue. You're gonna often find like 5 of them for like $10 on eBay, which is not a bad deal.
Who doesn't have at least 5 of them sitting new on sprue ready to go? If you've been into this for a few years.
That's fair, yeah. I mean, like, I don't actually have that many. I've collected some now more recently, but they're not available anymore, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, thankfully, there's a lot out there that you can probably find some easily.
So as far as the games, I think we played about 113 games of Kill Team, if my math is right. It's probably not, but it's around there. We had players from Oregon, Washington, Nevada, Montana, Canada, and California too. So had players from all over the place. Did I miss anywhere? Any place? I think Montana was the farthest away, is what we figured out. Connor, you gave away the captain's hat.
Yeah, I need to go double check. His name is either Tegan or Tyrion, and I'm gonna feel really bad if I'm mixing it up. So I'm pulling up BCP right now. But this kid, he's an awesome guy. He brought Talons of the Emperor with some of the most kit bash like models I've seen. Where like his custodial leader was holding a dead word bear like up by the head. It was like a word bear cut in half type thing. His Sisters of Silence were all kit bash with like Sisters of Battle and Sisters of Silence like capes and stuff. So they were really unique models. The custodians in general, the rest of them just looked amazing. And he's 18 years old and drove 8.5 miles solo just because he had heard about the event sometime, I guess maybe during Tacoma Open or something. And he said it sounded really cool. And he came out, and that's awesome. And we gotta. He's had this a fantastic time, is what at least what he told me. And I was like, yeah, I'm glad we were able to recognize that. Like, you did this crazy journey solo, and so for that you get the fun award of Warp Captain. And he seemed to really appreciate it, which is like the best thing about it. Anytime you can recognize someone doing above and beyond feature to join us in this nerdy hobby, that's awesome to recognize him for it.
Yeah, I think his leader actually I think was a Constantine Valdor actually that he had kit
Yeah,
bashed.
I think it was also. We also got to shout out David. He drove up from Yolo, California, I want to say, just outside of Wairika, which is right around 8 hours too. He made it the drive up last year and here again. So always great seeing him.
Yeah, we had a couple guys from the Vancouver Kill Team, Vancouver, BC, actually, not Vancouver, Washington, that came down as well too, and a couple of them made the top 8.
Yeah.
With two Canadians from Vancouver Kill Team in the top 8, which congratulations, guys. That's a great showing. So.
Now, one thing I have to point out is that Kill Scream, an Oregon event, has never been won by an Oregonian so far. It's 2 Washingtonians in Brandon Bean, and now a Californian in Jimmy Kelly. So
it's because I can't ever play. Greg and I are never allowed to play in Kill Screams. So.
Well, I mean, so here's what you're saying is if we facilitate it so you can play next year, you're going to win the whole thing.
I mean, like, with proper prep time, first 2 years, and maybe these days, I don't know. I'm feeling behind the curve on 3rd edition, if I'm being honest here. So.
And I believe it was actually Caden. Actually, Connor was the Talons player.
I just found it. Yeah. So shout out to you, Caden. If you're listening, that you did an amazing task, and I hope to see you next year, man. I'm glad you were able to make it out. And Tyler also beat me to the shout out to David coming up from YOLO. He was my first opponent last year playing Phobos, and he was a great time then. It was a great time now, especially because he brought up Hunter Clade. His models looked amazing. He did a fantastic job reaching top 8. So I was glad at least one Hunter Clade player made it up there, and I was really glad to talk Hunter Clade with him throughout the tournament.
And now, Connor, while you didn't win the tournament, we do have some moments from the tournament that I would like to recount with you. So, we determined that Connor's a diva. So Connor's crew that he was going to the tournament with every day had to wait every morning for Connor to put on his face or do something because he was always the last person out of the shower to get out of the door.
Yeah, I guess so. No, I'm a slower shower taker in general, so I always went last, and then I was trying to speed it up on Sunday, especially. But you know, I guess I'm a diva, so there's that. I have a podcast, so I'm a celebrity that's full of himself, even though I only have like 80 people listening to me. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, like, this fits with my experience when I went up, and they were the ones supposed to drive me to his own tournament so that I could TO it, and he's showing up almost late for us to show up to his tournament. So that all tracks with what I heard. Connor was said himself that he wasn't leaving the house because he didn't get his poached egg. That's what I heard. Didn't you hear that, Chuck?
That's what Connor said himself.
Yeah, because I'm obviously waiting for a poached egg. That's really on the top of my priority list. The thing I don't even know what it is.
Well, and I mean, let's talk about another diva moment of Connor. So
Oh
I,
God,
as I mentioned, I was helping facilitate the tournament and being the kind of co-TO. And basically what I was there for is like somebody needed a judge. I would determine if I was that judge. Most of the time I was not that judge. So I would then grab Greg. So in the middle of round 5, I believe it was, I hear from across the room, I hear Chuck, and Connor's looking over me from the table that he's playing. I'm like, oh, okay, what's up? So I start heading over there thinking that Connor needs a ruling or something. And Connor goes, will you get me a water?
Yeah, listen, I had a high blood sugar and I was just trying to get some water to bring it down. And you're my friend, and you had already been walking towards that area, so I figured maybe Chuck would be kind enough to grab me one. And you were, so thank you for that. I'll never ask for a water again.
That's not true. I'm pretty sure you did even later in the convention.
I mean, yeah, when you were standing next to the bottles on day 3 and I was like across the table from you, and I was like, hey, hand me that water behind you, would you? Such a diva-esque. My bad.
Oh, we just got to give you shit, man. We love you. One of the things, speaking of day 3 and people playing games and stuff like that, I want to talk about right here is we had such an incredible showing of people coming out on our day 3 when and just doing free play. I think we probably had, I don't know, a dozen or so games of 3rd edition going on, right then and there. None of the people had to be there or show up for the 3rd day, but they wanted to come out and hang out with the community and get to know the new edition. They were all just hyped about the game.
Yeah, that part blew me away too, actually, because like I said, day 2 was kind of the most energy, but then day 3, we only had 8 players that actually were there playing for like a prize or a placement or something. But the rest of the entire rest of the gaming hall was still filled with people who weren't there, either had been there for previous days and previous games, or just came down to play because they wanted to try out 3rd edition. It was we had a lot of the Vancouver crew. We had Ryan and Chris come down.
Mm-hmm.
We had some people come back that had been there before, and people who hadn't had a chance to show up yet. I know we had Kevin come from like Kaiser area. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was super cool. That was really impressive to me.
Incredibly impressive. Thank you all for coming out, and being there the 3rd day too. It just made like the whole experience extra magical to me.
Yeah, it was really nice to see, and it was cool to check in on the 3rd edition games, even though I have no idea what's going on with them because um, I haven't had a chance to play it yet because I was focused on the convention. So
Yeah,
um,
absolutely. Yeah, I found out after the convention that invols are gone. No, it's just ignores piercing. Like I was talking about, like, oh, this shouldn't interact, and they're like, well, actually, it doesn't work like that anymore. And I'm like, oh, shit. Clearly, I've been keeping up with this new addition for the community that I run.
Well, the good news is you've got a couple weeks before the next tournament. I think we're going to do a December tournament, and sounds like you're gonna be playing in that one anyway. So you better learn the rules as it is. We're gonna have
Hope.
Cody, maybe Cody, Fabi, and Matt will be the TOs for that one. You and I can roll some dice.
Yeah, that should be fun. I got my Volcus assembled today.
I got mine
Picked
last
out all my
night.
bits. Yeah, so just had to get rocking on that. So hope to have it painted up next week. So that should be fun.
Yeah, I think tomorrow night I'm actually going to once I'm done with all this podcast and stuff tomorrow night, I'm going to see if I can get mine primed. And actually I picked up another Hive Storm box that I'm trying to part out so I can just have another set of terrain for us to play at tournaments.
Yeah,
Now,
I'm gonna try to figure out how to cut up Octarius to make it a little bit more fitting for this edition, personally, for future events.
well, I mean, if you think about it, those Octarius walls, they like four Octarius walls form a box, which is like what a few of the Volcus terrain pieces make, and to get you that lethal 5 and stuff inside it. So you could put some of those together. I know some of your pieces don't even have the platforms on them because you're anti-vantage.
Yeah, I hate Vantage, and I hate Vantage, but I also hate Into the Dark. It's a complex relationship I have.
But you love Beta Decima.
I'm gonna make people play Beta Decima on a open board with a floor. Same rules apply in Swamp Gas.
All right, that'd be interesting to run that. Now, so back to Connor. So myself, Meg, and Connor were standing around, and Connor had an opinion on something, and Meg disagreed with the opinion. And Connor said, "You have to listen to me. I have a podcast." And Meg said, "I don't listen to it," and kind of shut Connor right the fuck down.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's incredible.
I think we were talking about shows to watch or something. I was like, "Oh, Meg, I'm a white guy with a podcast, so clearly my uncommon opinion means you have to listen to me." And she's like, "I don't listen to your podcast," which was, a fantastic response.
Yeah, it was and at the same time she was saying she didn't listen to my podcast, but also I wasn't the one who was like touting that I had a podcast and you should listen to me. So
I don't want to hear shit from you, Chuck. There were multiple people that came into us setting up the event on Thursday and like Friday and stuff, and you were the one that mentioned that we had a podcast talking about Kill Team to people that aren't even like hobby adjacent.
I did not. I don't think I mentioned the podcast to
You're
a
a
single person the entire
fucking
weekend.
liar.
I am not actually. So you're the one who touts the
I'm
podcast.
gonna,
I don't even admit I have a podcast.
I'm
People are
gonna
like, "What are
kill
you doing on Tuesday nights?" I'm like, "Nothing. I'm not doing a podcast. That's for sure."
You can't gaslight me, Chuck. I might be a diva
I
allegedly.
100% can gaslight you.
No, you 100% can.
What, dude?
I'm
All I
gonna
do is
tell. I'm
gaslight
gonna
you.
tell Jenna on you, and you're gonna get in trouble. How about that?
Jenna's gonna hear this anyways.
And
So, by the way, thank you, Jenna, for coming through. It was super awesome that you came through with your mom and dad and your aunt and uncle and saw the convention. It was awesome. You get to meet Connor again. You finally got to meet Tyler and a bunch of people from the community that know you're a real person and not my Canadian girlfriend anymore.
yeah, well,
Yeah, absolutely. We were starting to wonder, honestly.
I knew Jenna, and she likes our posts, and so she'll take my side here.
How do you know that I'm just not running her account? How do you know that I'm not running her Instagram? I'm just switching back and forth.
I mean, I guess you could be doing that.
You have no idea how deep it
you
is,
guys,
Connor.
y'all ever know someone with a Canadian girlfriend, like actually that claimed that back in the day?
I never did. No, did you?
I did. I knew this guy. And like the thing is, like we were like adults too. Okay, like we were out of high school. I was living over in Bend, and he was another dude with doing car stuff, and he had two lies about Canada. He had a Canadian girlfriend. Okay, she was a model, of course, and he had a Canadian Skyline GTR.
What does that even mean? That it's a Canadian Skyline GTR? Like,
It's probably a
Well, you could.
right hand drive imported.
Well, so yeah, like back in the early 2000s. So like in the U.S., you can't import a foreign car that's newer than 25 years old. But Canada has more relaxed restrictions on it, so you could technically import the cars. I want to say at like 15 years. So Canada could get the GTR before the United States. Back in the early 2000s, like the early R32s and stuff like that.
Connor, do you know what a GTR is?
I mean, I know it's a car, but if you asked me to point it out to him in the lineup, I probably wouldn't be able to do that.
The new
You
GTR is actually like is the car that I really wanted. They don't make them anymore now. They stopped making them now, but like it was almost affordable. I mean, not really affordable, but like a supercar within reach, and I really really wanted one of those.
Yeah, I'm personally a fan of the old GTRs. But my partner's uncle does have a R34 GTR with I want to say it's like 1500 horsepower. The thing is absolutely nuts. So, I've been lucky enough to be able to drive quite a few throughout my life, and I can't imagine what a 1500 horsepower GTR is like.
Yeah, that's a lot of horsepower. I had a 250 horsepower Subaru Legacy GT, and it felt like a lot. I can't imagine like 6 times that much horsepower, and just built
Yeah,
to kill you.
absolutely. Like I think he has like a 2000 horsepower Supra too. The dude's just nuts. He's like, you can come up and drive him sometime, and I'm pretty confident in my driving skills. I have a lot of hours behind the wheel on the track and stuff like that, and those cars scare the shit out of me.
Speaking of cars, we so on the end of day 3, Nick was there. Nick comes down from the Port Orchard Bremerton area, and Nick was about to head back, and Zarin came over and to me and he said, "Hey man, like my train's all fucked up. It's stuck in California. Do you know anybody who's going north like tonight or tomorrow morning?" And Nick was sitting there. I'm like, "Hey, Nick's going up north." And Zarin's like, "Where are you going to?" And Nick's like, "Port Orchard." And Zarin lives right there. So Nick was nice enough to give Zarin a ride, and then Connor heard that a car was getting out of town and was like, "Hey, can I squeeze in there?" And weasel his way into Nick's ride as well too. And then on the way home, Connor broke Nick's car.
Are
The
you?
the Omnissiah, the Omnissiah does not shine on Connor because halfway home, apparently every engine light came on in Nick's car. Connor, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, let's hear this.
I'm gonna be honest. I was half asleep, so I don't really know how the start of the story happened. I just kind of woke up when we had pulled off to a rest stop, and apparently every light on Nick's dashboard was like going nuts.
So, being not only a passenger princess, but ruining Nick's car. And
Yep.
Nick says it's going to be about $2,000 to repair it, and he's wondering how much you're going to kick in on that.
Wait, is it actually cost that much? Jesus, that sucks.
No, it's gaslighting. I told you I can gaslight you.
Well,
No, actually, he doesn't know yet.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was gonna feel bad, Chuck. That's not gaslighting. I'm like,
You
damn,
should
that
feel
sucks.
bad. No, it's still gaslighting.
No, that'd be like 10 Hive Storm payments. That'd be a lot of money.
I like that you measure your payments in hive storms.
We talked about this.
That's very mature and adult.
Thank you. Yeah, we talked about it on Friday when we were having dinner. Like oh man, payments and units of Hive Storm, and we were joking about that on the car ride.
Yeah. Friday, man, that going out to dinner with y'all was great, but I had to dip as soon as possible. Like I ate my meal and then I was out of there. I couldn't stay around anymore. I knew I barely made it home that night. I was so wiped out.
Yeah, that dinner was really fun. I'm glad you were able to make it home safe because I knew you definitely dipped like after finishing your food, but it was fun having dinner with you.
Absolutely. Generally we try to be pretty social at our events. I feel like this is the event where I was the least social afterwards, or at least for big events, stuff like Tacoma, Last year, Killscream, we had a little bit of social stuff go on. This year, a little bit more low key for me after hours. We did wrap up the third day by going out and drinking some beer and stuff like that. But overall, it was quite like once the day was done, I was out of there. I was ready to go home and see my cats and stuff like that.
Well, yeah. Whoops, just saw Chuck's message, so whoops, gonna have to cut this part, Chuck. Cut now. Um, but yeah, it was a good time. I can understand why you would have little social time when you're busy running a convention, but like we said earlier, it went really well. There were no complaints that I saw or heard from anyone really, so that's always fun. That's kind of a little bit of a nervous thought of like, oh man, what if people don't like this hard work we've put together and it doesn't come through? So I'm glad you guys were able to not have to have that situation happen.
Yeah, well, thanks for reading my message. Also, I'm back.
You're welcome.
No, I think I like just so to kind of bring CritCon to a close. I think it was amazing. I think it was I Tyler had big dreams for it, and I had nightmares about what it might be, and it was awesome. I got nothing but positive feedback from players, vendors, mall staff, like people that just came through, people that took the paint classes. So I'm super excited. I really appreciate everybody who came out, everybody who helped out, everybody who rolled dice. Yeah, like thank you so much for coming, and we're definitely doing it again next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, special thanks to Cody, um, for all of your help with the event setup, teardown, stuff like that. Throughout this year, you've been an integral part of our group and getting the events going and making sure that they run smooth. We really appreciate it. So,
Thanks, Meg, for the sign hookup. Even though you don't listen to our podcast, somebody who does hear this can tell you.
yeah, absolutely. I'll tell her Wednesday. Thank you again for those. They looked awesome.
Thanks, Connor. Thanks for helping set up and ditching out and skipping the breakdown.
Oh my god. I'm sorry I wanted to get
I
home to my wife.
I
missed
know
my
you
wife.
want. I'm sure you did. She messaged me and said keep in there for another day, but you'd already left.
Oh,
So
I'm sure she did.
yeah, no, but no, Connor, really do appreciate you helping out and moving tables and stuff, especially on Thursday. And Jeremy, thank you so much for again slinging tables and cleaning up, bringing your mop on Monday and cleaning up all the messy spots in the AOS room. There wasn't as many in the kill team room. Just saying.
Also, thank you, Jeremy, for letting me use one of your spare beds.
Yeah, thanks for giving Connor a place to stay, so he didn't have to stay with me. So, but yeah, thanks all the vendors. Thank you, Mindtaker. Thank you, Bloodsport Gambler. Thank you, Tyler. I can't remember Tyler's last name.
Welk, I want to say.
Russo.
Yeah, I think it's
name?
Tyler. No, Tyler Russo's $1 billion
I know.
farm.
It was just the first one that came to mind.
Thank you, Useless Wizard Ryan. Thank you, Dan Osborne. Thank you. What's the name of the shirt vendor? I got a sticker over here, but I can't see it. Don't lose hope.
Don't lose hope. Rodney and OJ came out, and then Margarita on Saturday to help out, which was awesome. I know that Rodney had a great time. It was really cool, kind of showing people that it's they're someone's making my shirts. It's not sent off to a machine in China, and things like that. So that was super cool. Taglio Dice and Rubird with her dice pouches.
Yeah, so it was just super cool to see it all come together, and I cannot wait to see what we can do next year.
What are your guys' goals for next year?
Tyler probably wants to. I mean, my goals are to do it just as good and maybe a little bigger, and I'm sure Tyler wants to do it on the roof of Lloyd Center or something.
Yeah, we're gonna actually take up the entire parking garage, outside. It'll be indoor out now. It's gonna be actually on the ice rink next year. Really, I want to take up a few more stores, ideally. Have a few more games, give more people the opportunity to come out and play the games that they love. I've already had multiple organizers reach out, like either right before this or after this event, once they saw how successful this was, and they're excited to get in. So next year we should have War Master and some Star Wars, and already have talks with the 40K people, and Infinity is going to be back and bigger than ever. So yeah, we should be even more of a convention next year than it was this year, which is wild.
So that's CritCon. We're Vox Cascadia. And Connor, I have a little surprise for you.
Uh-oh.
Did you listen to our buddies in Squad Games today yet?
I have not, no.
Okay, let's I've got permission from Dakota to use this. So
Oh boy.
Let's take a listen.
Next, we get one that I haven't seen anyone play, and honestly, I forgot they existed.
Gosh, dude, I've looked at
Hunter
this team.
Clade.
They make me go to sleep. It's like reading a textbook. It is awful. It is awful to even try to understand the team. It reminds me of this team in 8th edition, where it was literally just a textbook, and they're like, "Oh, on turning point 1, you can't shoot me or do any of these 10 different things, but on
I
turning point 2,
remember
you
that.
can
I
do
hated
all-"
that.
Yeah,
during
and there's
that
a reason why
edition.
they got nerfed into the ground, because everyone just despised them.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
When you try to read this team, it's like trying to learn binary, and it literally just hurts.
Zeros and
It
ones.
hurts my soul. Chris, are you familiar with this team at all?
Yeah, I've read through their rules. I
Did
definitely
it hurt your brain? Seems like it's up your alley.
I would say it still puts me to sleep. I wouldn't say it hurts my brain.
Okay, put you to sleep.
I'm not, so I'm of two minds. I think one, I really like that deprecations are back. I think it's a more interesting way to do the team as opposed to
Right.
just reskin of Cascadia.
Right.
I really like that part. But overall, yeah, a little bit torn.
Oh yeah? How are you torn, my friend?
I want to love them. With only being stuck at 10 operatives, even with all the cool sort of like gadgets they have, the ability to like basically overclock as one of their moves, which I really, really like, to like supercharge whatever optimization they have.
Mm-hmm.
It's still not enough for me to put the team above C tier right now. I don't think they can manipulate the game enough. They're just not good enough at killing. They aren't particularly good at doing mission actions. I think they're a more well-rounded team and a more fun implementation compared to last time. But I do think some of their specialists need a little love, and they just need a little boost.
You think Gillerpox and the Cops are better than them?
I can't say.
All right, so you can keep them in just a solid C somewhere.
Yeah, solid C. Fair.
The one thing that always turns me off of this team isn't so much like I'm okay with the goofy aesthetic of being like this crazy steampunk machine, but what turns me off is just how many models you have to buy. Like to properly make this. Yeah, it's like Inquisition, and same thing with Wormblade, because you got to buy all these heroes. Like, yeah, you could customize and make them yourself, but like otherwise, it's kind of expensive.
They're expensive teams to run for sure.
They're expensive. It's just like it's one of those that I would play them, but it turns me off from the price.
So Connor, instant reaction. They're boring, they're expensive, and they're C tier.
Unfortunately, I can only really disagree with one of those points.
Which part?
They're boring, but
they're not expensive.
No, that's the part I'm.
Oh, you do agree with that.
That's the part I'm disagreeing.
You disagree with the boring part.
Yeah, boring. I think they have a lot of fun tools, but unfortunately, I think the negatives that are now part of the team are really, really hefty, and the team will reward like perfect planning, except you can't perfectly plan for kill team. It's still a dice game fundamentally. You can't ever have a turn where you're going, I'm only shooting or I'm only fighting, which makes the deprecations for the team now in third real painful, even with the like overall unit buffs they've got.
I mean, as someone who's heard you talk on and on about Hunter Clade, actually, I walked away from a conversation this weekend about Hunter Clade. I think I have to agree with the boring piece too. Tyler, your thoughts on how boring Hunter Clade are?
Going up to Tacoma, or not Tacoma, LVO the first year, I was tempted to play Hunter Clade, and I took him up to an event at Waystone, and I had one of the worst times playing a team I've ever had.
Well, I guess that about sums it up. Boring, worst time you've ever had playing, and yeah. So, good news. They're only going to be around for another year.
Yeah,
Clock is ticking, Tonner.
absolutely. Time's up.
So, well, anyways, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. CritCon 1 is in the books. CritCon 25 we're gonna decompress and we'll start planning for it in like a couple weeks. But I've already started talking to people about stuff a little bit too.
Yeah, you can't stop. It's already in my mind. So, check us out on the internet though. You can check me out at Lowbrow Minis or dicethrower.bigcartel.com. Connor at Spanaway on everything, and Chuck's Painting Cave Minis. Thank you guys for listening to our podcast and us talk about our own convention, feeding our egos a little bit. We appreciate every one of you.
And CascadiaTabletop.com is where you can see what we did this year for CritCon if you weren't there. And then that's where we'll have just updated stuff for CritCon going forward. So, Connor, anything you want to say besides like, subscribe, hit that bell, turn on notifications, all that stuff?
Join the KTC Discord. We had a lot of people join it this weekend that were there for the Sigmar event, not quite realizing what KTC was. So if you're listening to this and somehow not part of the Discord, get in here. It's a great time, and you can yell at Chuck with me.
Yeah, we're gonna have a painting contest or a hobby project soon that we're gonna announce. So yeah, you should definitely be in Discord.
I mean, can we tell people what it's going to be right now? I think it's a pretty solid idea.
No, we don't want people to get a head start. Let's announce it next week.
I mean, I kind of gave we can do next week. If you're in the Discord, you might know what it is already, but I think it's pretty sweet. I'm actually excited to take part in it too. So get your Hivestorm box and get your Vulcus built. If that's the only clue we'll give you. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you as usual. And Connor, why don't you go play with your boring Hunter Clade?
The worst part, Chuck, is I'm not actually going to be playing them.
Oh, what are you going to be playing then?
I'm doing Angels of Death this weekend just to start 3rd edition with, just like for simplicity.
Because you've given up on Hunter Clade.
I haven't given up on them, but like I said, they're going to be kind of fun, but I don't think you're going to have much success with them into a lot of matchups at this point. Then again, I don't think a lot of teams are going to have a lot of success in any sort of elite matchup, but that's a whole different ball game.
Also, real quick, the beds at Jeremy's house, nice and warm?
No. They were nice beds.
Where do we go to find a nice warm bed?